Much like the world of gaming, Wreck-It Ralph has introduced a lot of characters, from candy-themed racers to burly but kind-hearted video game villains. In the two films, we have a look at the characters that make up Litwack's arcade, as well as the entire internet. But which of these characters has no strength, and who is a true powerhouse? Hey guys, I'm Brad with Wicked Binge, and this is Wreck-It Ralph Characters, Weak to Powerful. For our weakest character, we're actually going to give it to multiple people, the citizens of Ralph's and Felix's game, the Nicelanders. True to their in-game role of NPCs, the Nicelanders are shown to do nothing other than plead for Felix to fix their apartment building after Ralph damages it whenever a player pops in a quarter to play the game. Even when the arcade closes, they really show no signs of having any strength or power outside the range of a normal person.
Should be wrecking the building.
While some do seem to have the role of mayor and others shown to be an excellent baker, since we don't see much of these skills applied, the Nicelanders get the top spot. Much like the Nicelanders, our next slot is going to be multiple NPCs, at least to an extent, the Sugar Rush Racers. While whoever decided to play their game controls whichever character they choose, the rest act as NPC opponents during the race. And when the arcade closes, a race is held to make up the next day's roster for players to choose from. And while next to nothing is known about these characters since all of them are seen as being pretty good at racing by themselves, they have at least some skills to their credit. Next is King Candy's right-hand man, Sour Bill. So why is someone that is closely connected with the main villain from the first movie this low? Well, Sour Bill really has no power by himself. Yeah, he is left in charge while King Candy leaves temporarily, but Sour Bill isn't shown to do much while in this position. Yes, he does have Felix arrested when he comes looking for Ralph, but that's about it. Sour Bill is aware of the fact that something is off in Sugar Rush and that Vanellope was never meant to be a glitch, but due to his and the other citizens' memories being locked away, he does not act on this knowledge. Plus, it doesn't take much for Ralph to get him to talk, and Sour Bill doesn't grow much on Ralph Breaks the Internet, though he's now firmly in the good camp. Speaking of Ralph Breaks the Internet, next is JP Spamly. Known to provide those lovely ads such as "Get rich playing video games," among others, is what Spamly does for a living within the internet. While this might seem annoying at first, Spamly is actually a friendly guy and helps Ralph and Vanellope in finding a way to earn money to purchase the replacement steering wheel for Sugar Rush.
Step into my parlor?
But outside of providing others with options, albeit somewhat shady methods, and helping Ralph with the deep web, Spamly doesn't have much going for him in terms of strength or powers. Next is Knowsmore. Like his name suggests, Knowsmore is a living search engine with an encyclopedic knowledge of pretty much everything, and while he can be aggressive in his recommendations, Knowsmore is just doing his job and trying to help others out. When the clones of Ralph are causing widespread damage to the internet, Knowsmore is able to deduce what is causing their behavior and tries to help Ralph and Vanellope to get rid of them. While he needs the user of his search engine to make the first move, Knowsmore knowledge outside his job is what gives him a ranking above the others. Next is helpful contractor and hero of his game, Fix-It Felix. Unlike other hero characters in their respective games, Felix is a genuinely nice guy, though ignorant when it comes to how Ralph feels in the first movie. Also, whatever physical damage that Felix comes across, he's able to repair it with his magic hammer, both in his own game and outside it, such as repairing the racetrack in Sugar Rush. And while he does seem to have some pretty good jumping skills to boot, we do have to question how strong Felix would be without his hammer. Seeing how much he can and has repaired with it, we're giving Felix a slightly higher spot in our ranking. Next is Shank. It goes without saying, Shank is an exceptional racer, as well as being a boss character in her game. When she's first encountered, she more than gives Vanellope and Ralph a run for their money, and is deeply impressed with Vanellope's skills. Shank is knowledgeable about other websites, as she points Ralph and Vanellope to BuzzTube to earn money to pay for Sugar Rush's replacement steering wheel. Later in the movie, Shank helps Vanellope in making her decision on staying in Slaughter Race or to leave back to Litwack's arcade. After Vanellope chooses to remain as a Slaughter Race character, Shank is able to rewrite her code to ensure that she will always regenerate. We wish we got to see a better scope of Shank's skills. For what is shown, we gotta give her this placement. Next is everyone's favorite glitch and rightful ruler of Sugar Rush and now Slaughter Race resident, Vanellope. Between Shank and Vanellope, it's hard to say who's the better racer. Sure, in the first movie, as she was prevented from racing, Vanellope had no idea how, But after she began training, she took the skill like a duck to water. Much like her racing skills, Vanellope is also able to get control of her glitch and use it to her advantage, both on the racing track and off it. Even in a new environment such as Slaughter Race, Vanellope is very quick to adapt to the new challenges that were presented.
Good job, Larry!
While being able to teleport via her glitch is a great power, keep in mind it was a skill that Vanellope was never supposed to have. But as she makes the best of the hand she was dealt, we feel pretty good with her ranking. Next, we have Sergeant Calhoun. Being surrounded by a world seemingly overruled by horrifying mechanical insects is definitely no picnic. But that is the world that Sergeant Calhoun plays a role in for the arcade game Hero's Duty by leading the player. Outside her game, however, is where her skills are shown more. Being able to track down the escaped Cybug, as well as being a more than capable fighter, Calhoun sees it as her responsibility to keep others safe while helping them fight. She and Felix even become decent adoptive parents to the Sugar Rush racers in the second movie. Seeing as Calhoun is both on and off the battlefield lands her a pretty high spot. Coming into our next spot, we have Yes. Even though she runs BuzzTube like a business, Yes is a pretty kind woman. While her top priority is to make her website as popular as possible, Yes is also pretty knowledgeable about the inner workings of the internet. She's in touch with whatever the users of BuzzTube want, and she's able to provide the content. And while her method of doing this is in the fashion of Pied Piper, Yes does seem to care about those who create content for BuzzTube. And even though her power is kind of limited to just BuzzTube, seeing how easily she can influence others and is in charge of a pretty large video sharing website are reasons enough to give her this high of a ranking. Next is Ralph. Alright, it might seem like we're giving Ralph this high of a spot simply because of his immense physical strength, and since he's able to destroy a building with just his fist, we can see why you'd think that. But we're also taking into account of Ralph's emotional strength. While he is a great guy, Ralph is a flawed character in both movies, believing that simply having a medal would make him a hero in his game, and going to extreme limits to obtain one before realizing what truly defines being a hero. In the second movie, when his friendship with Vanellope becomes borderline toxic, the virus he accidentally unleashed destroys the internet, and Ralph finally acknowledges how he was acting.
Just make the cars go slow or something so the game is boring.
After being able to repair his friendship with Vanellope and get rid of his clones the virus created, Ralph further grows by overcoming his insecurities. Seeing how much progress Ralph is able to make in both movies gives him some huge points. Time for another group ranking, the Cybugs. Huge, scary, and absolutely mindless. These machine bug hybrids are the antagonistic army in Hero's Duty. However, unlike others within Hero's Duty, the Cybugs are unaware that they're simply characters, attacking whatever and whoever they come across both during gameplay and outside it. And we got to acknowledge that whatever Cybugs eat becomes part of their bodies, which they can use. During the climax of the first movie, Sugar Rush is nearly destroyed due to the Cybugs invasion. Thankfully, all are destroyed after Ralph is able to create a fiery pillar from Diet Cola Mountain, and all of them are drawn to the light before being evaporated by the heat. Ralph puts it best with Candy-Coated Heart of Darkness when it comes to Turbo, aka King Candy, who gets the Bronze Medal of Power. First, we got to admit that we love the homage to Ed Wynn where King Candy is concerned. That being said though, even before Turbo became King Candy, he was known for being an exceptional racer. When he's able to hack into Sugar Rush, King Candy was able to both rewrite both his and Vanellope's codes in order to make him the ruler of the game and causing Vanellope to have her glitch. During the climax of the movie, after fusing with the Cybug, King Candy admits that he can take over any game within the arcade due to his newly acquired skills, as well as being able to beat up Ralph pretty easily.
I can take over any game I want.
And if he hadn't gained the Cybug's fatal flaw of being drawn to any light source and being burned up by the Geyer from Diet Cola Mountain, it's no stretch to say that he was the biggest threat to the arcade. Our Silver Medal of Power goes to Mr. Litwack. Even though Mr. Litwack does not directly interact with any of the characters in either movie, we have our reasons for placing him this high. As he is the proprietor of his arcade, Litwack has the power to remove and install any game he chooses. And yeah, when you come right down to it, this is just the basic duty of any arcade or electronics owner. But as we see that unplugging and plugging in the game can both destroy the world within the game and give the world and characters life, respectively. If we look at Litwack through the viewpoint of most of the characters, comparing Litwack to a god isn't that far off. But there's one entry that is the strongest of the bunch. Our gold medal of evil has to go to Arthur, aka the Ralph clones. And finally, at the top of our list, we have the virus that caused the internet to crash for multiple people, as well as doing widespread damage. Arthur is an insecurity virus, and after sensing Ralph's insecurities, spawns thousands of his clones which wreck multiple websites during their chase of Penelope.
Insecurity detected.
They're kind of like the Cybugs, but on a much larger scale. While whatever they damage can reboot and be repaired, the simple fact of how reliant we are with using the internet for anything and not knowing the extent of what damage they did automatically gives them major points. Major thanks to Ralph for overcoming his issues, not only because it helped both himself and Penelope, but also because it was able to stop and destroy the virus in its tracks. Alright y'all, that's it. Let us know if you agree with our rankings. Remember to hit that notification bell and binge our other Wicked Binge videos. But most importantly, stay wicked.